All right. Welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name is Ben Steger. I'm here to answer your shooting questions. Back with us today, Rob Lesack, otherwise known as Screamin' Amateur Productions. He is the genius behind Practical Pistol Foundations. He's the fucking mastermind,
Nice.
right? Yeah?
Nice intro. I like it.
Dude, not to mention, you can shoot okay.
I'm getting
You've
there.
been called a sandbagger once or twice.
Yeah.
And from Kansas City, Grandmaster Matt is also here.
Hey,
What?
I said, hey, hi.
Oh, I was like, hey,
What's up, my
Mimi's,
cat?
your cat's blowing you up. All right. What we're discussing today is when does a stage become unsafe due to weather? If you're listening to the audio rip, I will describe this for you. If you're watching on YouTube, just go to the description and you can click through to a thread. Basically, this got teed up on the Duty Project forum. It was a video from some relatively recent major match, and it shows an extremely soupy stage, like next level soupy. I can very rarely recall shooting a stage this fucked up, but it's wet, it's muddy, and a guy takes off out of the start position, and before you know it, he slips on his ass, gets his gun stuck up into a wall, and he avoids DQing, stands back up, and kind of finishes the stage. So the question is, when should a stage be tossed due to unsafe range conditions? Hopkins, why don't you start?
Uh, this stage in particular, I've shot equally or worse than that, so I don't think the stage should have been tossed.
Well, do you think so would you say it was less safe to shoot it that way than
Yeah,
normal?
any stage with that kind of mud on it is going to be less safe than somewhere where it's dry. But this is a practical sport. We do have to shoot in the certain conditions.
Because you might get ambushed. You're walking through the mud, and you got a bunch of bad guys jump
Could
out
be,
at you,
yeah, dude. You never know.
and you could just like boom,
You
defend
might have to
yourself.
run the 10 feet or so and then stop and you fall on your ass.
Yeah.
Dude, I think this was a shooter problem, not a stage problem. I think the dude should have been like a little more careful about how he was running through the stage. After that, after he fell, he had no problem. He didn't fall any again. It's like he learned from his mistake and didn't get that aggressive in the position.
All right. Well, quite a few people, from the sounds of it, fell over on this stage. A few people got muddy, so it wasn't just one guy.
Work
Right.
cleats.
I think he was wearing cleats.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's totally safe. I think a lot of the responsibility needs to go on the shooter.
All right, Lisak, what's your take on this?
I get Matt's point. I mean, it is a practical sport. That video seemed pretty messed up. I mean, and at the point that it's not testing your shooting skills or your shooting ability, and you have to slow down that much to be safe, is that really, testing your shooting skills against each other, or just your ability to stand in a puddle of mud and not fall
Well,
over?
that did get discussed. Now, over a multi-day match, of course, people get different shooting conditions. There was some bitching about this match in particular that it's not fair for the guys that shot when it was really soupy. What do you think about that, Rob?
I mean, like, you gotta take the elements to some extent. I get that. When it gets to that level, I guess that's the question, right? When do you stop the stage? And
Yeah, at what point do you call it unsafe? And
yeah,
you're saying on this video, would you call this unsafe? If you're the range master for that, you're like, shut it down, like just toss the stage.
I mean that was pretty messed up. Although one of the stages I shot at that Nationals was about that messed up. I mean the start position was literally like put your heels on the X's under that water, like you couldn't see. So I guess you got to deal with what you got to deal with. But you can't possibly be aggressive on a stage like that and still be safe. So how's
Yeah.
it really testing you against everybody else?
That
All
also,
right.
that's an interesting point. That gets brought up later on, like page 3 in the thread, that my cat is going fucking nuts. That the national or the super squad in open kind of had a stage like that. They still ended up in the top 10 top percentage overall. Like, it didn't affect their scores. They were still winning the stage.
All
So I'm
right.
not sure how much that actually affects the stage time or the stage winner.
All right. So people say it's a competitive equity issue, and you say no. The cream rises to the top, and
I
that's
think
it.
so, yeah. I definitely. Look, I don't know. It's hard to say, I guess. But it's been proven in other matches that the winners are still going to win the stage, and that kind of footing or range condition doesn't affect it.
How about this, Matt? So neither one of you guys, and I guess I'd lump myself in here. Nobody here would if you're the range master, nobody would stop like a really like a crazy soupy stage like that. Nobody has the range master be like, no, don't shoot the stage. But like everybody agrees with that, right?
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So at what point, like, how fucked would it have to get before you're like, shut the stage down? What would you need to see on the video before you're saying it's unsafe, don't do it? What do you think, Hopkins?
It'd have to be pretty crazy, like moving water in the middle of a stage, like a river or something. But, dude, but we've all shot. You shot the '08 Nationals where it was a mud pit, and you had to like have someone look out for your mags because when they fell in, that shit was just gone. And if you didn't have someone spot them, you couldn't find them. I've shot last year. I shot down in Oklahoma, and it was fucking nuts. It was way worse than that on over half the stages.
Did you
So-
still finish where you would have expected to? You
Yeah.
didn't?
Dude, I changed my plan on some of the stages to reduce some risks and stuff. But yeah, I still finished where I thought I would.
All right, Rob, can you think of any like what would you have to see to
I mean, running water sounds like a pretty bad situation. Like,
or like sinkholes or something?
obviously, like lightning and stuff, maybe really high winds where the walls would be compromised, or something would fly into you. So I guess where you could slow down enough to control yourself on that video, so it's still within your control to be safe. If the targets were blown across the stage, I guess you'd have to say halt.
Yeah. Well, there were Hopkins. There were a few people saying toss the stage, right?
Yeah, there was a couple people that said toss the stage, and then some other people were like, I wouldn't, if I saw that, I wouldn't even show up to shoot. And if like I was there already and saw that, I would just pack and leave. Which, once you get in it, like I've thought that way at a major or whatever, like a state match or whatever. Like once you're there and once you're in it, it doesn't become that big of a problem. Everybody's got to go through it. Like this was a one-day match, and the staff got to shoot before in dry conditions, and it didn't really change anything.
Okay. One more question. Hopkins, did this stage look like fun to you?
That's a totally different question, dude.
It is. Did it look like fun?
Hell no, it didn't. It looked like it took too much effort and work.
Lisak,
That would not be fun.
it looked like fun. Does it give you good memories of nationals where you're like, man, I can't wait to shoot a match like that again?
It's great for excuses.
I had to shoot in the mud. I got fucked. Like, oh my God. Yes. It's too bad. Like it would have to be pretty crazy before I'd look at a stage and be like, we need to get us a different like throw this stage out because this is unsafe. It'd have to be wild and crazy stuff for
The
me.
one that comes to mind to me was Idaho or Indiana a few years ago, where the river literally flooded the bays, and there was like feet of water over the grass. It's like 3 feet of water in the bay. Like that would be too unsafe for me.
That's too much.
That's too much, yeah.
All
Like,
right.
who would want to go out there and stand in that in RO?
Some sort of wild man, obviously.
I wouldn't do it.
All right, here we go. It's time for a shooting question. Any advice for live fire practice when you don't have access to a shooting bay? The club I'm a member of is pretty restrictive on its ranges. Only one target at either 25 or 50 yards. And it has to be no larger than 24 by 24 inches. We also have an indoor range, 50 feet with mechanical target carriers that can be run out to any distance. Still limited to one target. You can draw from the holster if qualified first, but can't be fast. The muzzle has to stay below the berm at all times, including on reloads. Other than moving to a state that has better ranges, or finding a better club with real shooting bays, what kind of drills can I do? That's the thrust of the question. So, Hopkins, what do you think? Guy in this sort of a situation. You're shaking your head. You're like, man, what the fuck?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. You got to obviously work within the constraints they have for you.
So basically, no drawing from the holster.
I don't know. Maybe do table starts and stuff.
Well, they probably would take issue with that being fast, but I suppose it's not technically against the rules.
Dude, I'm like coming to a blank on this. This guy's kind of screwed.
Like, how do I train for shooting close targets at high speed when I'm not allowed to use multiple targets, shoot close, or shoot fast? That's pretty much the question, right?
Do dry fire, I guess. I mean, I see no other option on this. This guy's. I haven't seen this restrictive of a place before. Sorry.
Yeah. So.
And the 25 or 50, it's like 25 or.
It's
50?
probably one bay that has a 25-yard backer board and a 50-yard backer board, or something like that.
Still, you can't do anything close with that. You'd have to. And the target size is already set. I don't know, dude. I'm stumped.
Lisak, you feel for this guy?
Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, I would defer to you guys on what to do with that. I would say dry fire or find a new range.
Well, that's not an option for him. He's
what else
fucked.
can you really do? I guess dry fire is really his only option, right?
Yeah, for the high speed stuff. There's no prohibition against rapid fire in there that I see, so that's good. So I guess you'd be really good at shooting little things far away with some semblance of speed, right? Like you could put up paper plates, like 8-inch, 10-inch, whatever. Put up paper plates and
You can only use one target.
Yeah, you just put up one of them.
Okay, I thought maybe you were putting up multiple. Sorry.
Well, you could try that, but see if you can get away with it for a minute. But
is there any prohibition like soaking the range full of mud so he can be really good on that stage of the video we just watched? And that's about it.
Yeah, that'd probably be what he'd have to do. But so it looks like if you can't do fast drawing, I mean, maybe just presenting the gun up onto the target from low ready and doing, rapid fire stuff. So you'd be really good at shooting 25 yards, shooting slower paced targets, and get really accurate at that, and then have to rely on the dry fire for everything else. That seems like the best option to me. I don't
think he's got to find a new club, dude, even if it's 2 hours away.
Did it say where he is?
Virginia. You were just in Virginia. There's some ranges there.
Yeah. Well, I shot at the Fredericksburg gun club.
Yeah.
My guns almost didn't make it.
But you made it, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we have nothing else to say about this. Man, I feel for this guy. Well, we're going to have to leave it there. If you want to get in touch with Hopkins, it's at hopkinsshooting.com.
Yes.
Lisak, if people want you to produce a video for them, they got to get in line behind me, but they can hit you up on Facebook.
Yes, they can.
All right. If you guys have a shooting question you'd like us to talk about, head over to benstegger.com and send that shit in. We'd love to hear from you.